And you know, eh, in the end of the day, our goal really is to help people improve their lives, and also like, possibly in the grand scheme of things, possibly improve the quality of life, not just in the Philippines but across the globe. So yeah, I'm happy to start. Let me just quickly share my screen. See, I haven't used uh Zoom for a while now. Let's see. Can you see my screen? Yes. Can anyone see my screen? Yes, no. Awesome. All right, let's go. So ground rules pala. I know Mary mentioned about the ground rules. Uh, Bisaya ba tanan, no? Bisaya is everyone Bisaya can speak Bisaya. Okay, awesome. Sige. So I'll speak Bisaya and English from time to time because I think this will be recorded and some people might watch it later. So I'll try to mix my language. But ground rules. If you have any question, please raise your hand. I think we have 2 hours more or less for this event, so we have a lot of time to cover. If you have anything to clarify or you have some areas that you want to, like for me to dig deep or for me to explain further, just raise your hand, interrupt me. I want this to be as conversational, as casual as possible because at the end of the day, after this call, you will be implementing your own design process and you'll probably, I'll be out of your I'll still be reachable, but I might be out of contact already. So yeah, just a heads up that feel free to interrupt me and let me know if you have any question, and I'll get started. Can you share? Can you still see my full screen view? Yes, yes, no. Yes, awesome. All right. So I'll be talking about UI UX design. And I know I've seen a lot of the startups. Some were doing handmade soap. There's another one that's focused on food. I think mung bean poppers. There's quite a mix. So even though this is UI UX design, and you might think that, oh, this is technology, this is I don't know, application, software, something. Design is applicable all throughout. In the end of the day, making products look good, making products useful, making products usable. In the end of the day, it will be what people see, what people interact, what people will touch. So if you're gonna talk about like mung beans, people will touch the product, the packaging. They will read the labels. They will read everything. If you're gonna talk about the soap, there's the what do you call this one? The size of the soap. How will it be handled? The packaging of the soap. So everything in that aspect is designed. So think of this as an introduction to that. Even though I'm gonna focus on UI UX design because my experience has been in UI UX. But yeah, so here we go. Um, so first about me, Mary did a quick overview on my background. I'm a human-centered design consultant at CGI Canada, certified UX designer at Nestle Norman Group. I'm a design mentor. I help out fellow designers. I have a master's degree in Taiwan for design. Um, I am an organizing team way back in when I was still in Cebu. We organize like events in design. We bring in speakers. We help the community to understand and learn about the UX design. And yeah, I'm a keynote speaker on different universities and organization for the past 4 or 5 years already. So yeah, this is me today, but I was actually a seafarer. Back in 2014, 2010 to 2014, I was working on the ship. So I was a seafarer for a good 4 or 5 years, almost 5 years. I already have my second mate license. I was about to become a captain. I was on track to become a captain, but I shifted. I left the my last contract, my my third vessel, on 2014, and then I focused on design. I learned Photoshop, Illustrator, and all. And yeah, I mean, I never looked back. I was doing design since 2014. Um, it's been 12 years actually. So yeah, give or take, about 12 years now. So I've been doing design for a long time now. And this is my timeline. So as you can see, 2014, I started doing design consultancy, then tried to ramp up my experience and grew my career in the design field. And now I'm in Canada, still doing design. Uh, so yeah, the companies I worked with, I worked at Lexmark. Before this was my intro to UX design. I've been doing Motivosity, a startup. Lexmark is actually a printer. It was recently acquired by Xerox, so it's already Xerox now. And I worked at PostNord, a Swedish company, much like LBC, but for the government of Sweden. I did Accenture as design lead, Spins, senior UX designer. Then now I'm part of the human-centered design consultancy group for CGI. So yeah, that's my background, and now we're gonna focus on design. So people might think, hey, what is UI UX design? Why should we focus on this? This is just a waste of our time. UI UX design is actually a core of every product, because in the end of the day, you will be um, serving the customers, the users, and the UI, the interface that they interact, is what they use. It's the very product that they touch, is the very product that they will, hand. So if you're not gonna design the product, just magkunahuna lang ta nga, kuha na siya, iswat na to, kuan, ibutang na dira, karang butang na tag function mo, kuha na ang mga tao, let's just make this cheap, di ba? Mao na to nga. Just make it cheap, and people will buy it. But um, time and time again, it's proven good design, good, well thought out design will always win the users, will always win people. So why not start with design? No, why not start with that? So if the more we focus on design, the more we invest in design, the more we are closer on winning the hearts of our users. So yes, I'm gonna focus on this one. So what is UI UX design? Design can be defined in three words, and if there is like one thought that you want to take out from this talk, it's actually these three words: form follows function. And this is from an architect, Louis Sullivan. So this means form ang forma, follows function. So it's always function first, form second. So always think, what's the function of the product, unsay buhaton, unsay mahitabo, unsay kuan, before you even design anything, before you even build things. So if you're gonna think about the soap, in the end of the day, it will be used as, hand soap. It should be handy. So the size should fit in one hand, diba? Simple. Because if you notice, like sabon sa sauna nga dagko kayo, if you're gonna use it, dako kayo niya, mas slide sa imong kamot or di siya mo kuan, it's very difficult to use, no? Um, Same with products. If you think about, let's say, banking application today, ang nagamit, if you recall GCash karon, GCash is very, easy to use. But if you think of GCash in year 2020, there's GCash already, but it's very difficult. It's under Globe. You need to text in order to get the, your what do you call this one? Your load, uh, in order for you to put um your cash into your GCash account, you need to text, you need to ask for text. It's all in text. And now there's an app. Once the application came in, boom, GCash is already like all over the place now. So yeah, mo na siyang like the core of things of design is form follows function. FFF, form follows function. Keep that in mind, because sometimes when you're like focus on building your product, makalimot na ka, hey, let's just put this karang function in our what do you call this one, dog tracker. Let's just put this one, and the people will come in. But no, always think that you should first identify the the what do you call this one, the problem of the user. You should identify everything, and I'm gonna walk you through that later. Pero yeah, so you should define your function first before you start designing the form or the how it will look. So yeah, this is from Louis Sullivan. So design should start with the user's why, not just the business why. Because magthink ka, hey, what will make us sell more, which is I think what is most of the startup, because you need to like quickly get get traction. That's the huge pressure to startup, because you have limited investment. So you're gonna always think that, hey, we need more money. But no, if you are solving a real user problem, if you're starting with the user's why, ngano mo palit sila nimo, ngano mo gamit sila, you're always gonna win. Because if you're solving a big problem to the user that they're willing to spend money on, um, once you're gonna start with that and build your product around that, you're more than half on getting across to your users. You're already like winning on that part, because you started on your users why. It doesn't dive straight into solutions, just because you think na, hey, na siya problema karang, let's say for example, uh, let's say ako company, let's say, let me think of the small business. 70 nga karang, sana siya? Dried mangoes. I'm gonna think that, hey, karang na problema, I want to understand ang reviews sa mga tao sa ilang thoughts sa ako ang dried mangoes. So you're gonna think, hey, we just do kuan, karang let's just talk to people, let's just do this. But actually, the real problem is actually they just want to understand how they are doing. Like, what's an example? It's hard for me to pull in examples that's relevant to most people, but you get the point. You don't drive straight into solution. Look for relationship, look for patterns, look for what do you call this one? What do you call this one? You look for analytics. You look for how people are solving it now and how you can improve the solution. Because in the end of the day, good design is actually finding patterns, finding solutions, not just directly talking to the users. Because if you're gonna ask users, they will say na, oh, I'm gonna use your product, or oh, nindot ni siya. Actually, if you study them carefully, it's the other way around. They don't directly speak the language because they don't want to offend you, or they don't want to, they don't want to speak straight to you, which is common to most people. So yeah, don't dive straight into solution. Understand the problem first, and yeah, build solution around that. Understand user pain points and emotional terms rather than product features. Don't start with product features. Of course, I've been speaking to that. Understand their pain points. Sa may problema ni niya, sa may nganong kuan man siya, nganong sa may iyang kailangan, sa man ilang need jud. And you can do that in multiple different ways. I'm gonna enumerate a few later in the slide, but yeah, so the goal is to understand pain points, and I can't stress this hardly enough, because malimtan mo gud siya permi, that you always need to go back to user pain points. Never start anything without understanding unsay pain point ani niya, unsay problema ani niya. Because actually people don't buy products, they buy better versions of themselves. So kung mag-think ka sa analogy sa Mario, mag-think ka nga, karang this is your product, ang flower na makahatag og power, but actually people, your potential customer, are actually buying the better versions of themselves. They want power. They want, let's say for Mario, they want to have that flame power. The power para maka go through siya, makalapos siya sa stage. So your product should not just be a, the star. No, the star should be the user, the better versions of themselves. So how can you bring people from the simple customer to this amazing person that they want to be? So think of that. It's really just about reframing and thinking through, how can you make your product improve people's lives? How can they buy better versions of themselves? And if you can take Nike as an example, you might think ng products of Nike is shoes. Di ba? Kung think ka, sapatos from Nike. But actually, people buy Nike because they think, you know, you can do it. They think they can do it better because they have Nike. Murag na ba? So they don't just buy the shoes, they buy the better versions of themselves. So think of it that way, so that you can, yeah, it will help you understand how you can design your product better. Because in the end of the day, the users will be the ones who will judge the usability, everything about your product. They will be the judge. So start with the users, understand them, and yeah, go from there. So design is not a choice. It's not an add-on. It's not an afterthought. Usually, there's this notion in tech, in the engineering world, na karang let's build it on our own and then let's bring in design later. Later mo kasagaran. So build the product first, then later ng design. So it's actually in reverse, no? Most of the companies that grew, that expanded in the past 10 years, they focus on design. They bring design first and then find technology, find the business that fits into that, and grow from there. So design is actually not an afterthought. Di na siya dapat nga oh, yan na ng design, awahin na siya. So it should be the core requirement and informs the overall project timeline. So every project development, product development should start with how will it be used in the end. Sorry, napislitan. So yeah, so design should be tailor fit. It should fit into your customer. It should fit into your specific persona. For katong I forgot the name of the application, katong truck application. It should be tailor fit into the truck drivers. So the goal for you is to actually understand the truck drivers on their own, and like own the market, because it's very niche. So with that, you should tailor tailor fit all of your application, your design to that mindset. So may mindset sa truck driver. So may mindset nila. So may mindset sa, let's say, karang sa patong sa pet owners. So may mindset nila. How can we solve them? So it should be backed and informed by data and not just trusting your gut. Dili ra na siyang marag, oh, let's use blue button on this, or let's use karang Times New Roman on this kay ganahan ko ani, or ganahan ko color nga red. It's not about that. It should be informed by data, informed by research, and it should be everything should be backed by facts, not just murag, oh, nindot ni siya, nindot ni nga color, nindot ni nga kuan. So mo ni siya ang kasagarang what you call this one? Kasagarang issue with the UX design and with marketing. Marketing is always like wants to sell more, like oh, karang blue ang cool nga color, so blue should ang blue sad unta ang color sa button, but that should not be the case. No, it should be focused on research backed by data, informed by analytics, because yeah, you get a lot of data out of the internet that's free. Naatay karang they call this one Google Analytics. There's a lot of ways to gather data, and yeah, with just the free version you can already like understand your users. You can already understand a lot out of that. So design should be the voice of the users, informed by technology and the business. um, we have this what do you call this one? We have this label sa una when I was working at Lexmark. So what we do at Lexmark is we design karang when you use a printer, we design the interface like photocopy, color, print, all of those interaction. We design it, and we were called the champion of the users because we try to like make the product useful for the users, make it usable. Ng button mapisitan ra sakto ra ang kasaang size, and there will always be engineers who will think that, hey, let's just make this easy. Let's not put the button. Let's not show the label. Let's just put icon. So we're always like that now. But in the end of the day, if you want your product to solve user problems, to solve, you know, to improve people's lives, design should be the voice of the users. So that's how you should be, like be able to push for usability, push for better products, because the world is saturated with bad designed products, and we don't want any more of that. We try let's put a stop on that. No, let's make products that solve problems. And yeah, and that should start with you guys, because you are the startup founders. You are the next, the next people who will, bring in new opportunities and new ways of solving problems in the future. So yeah, so focus on solving problems and not just making things look good. It should not be just prettifying things. Of course, making it look good is end goal, but it first should solve the problems and then make it look good. Because if it doesn't solve the problem, it doesn't matter if it's really like the fanciest thing out of there. Doesn't matter kung sa ba na siya kanindot, kung di na siya makasolve, kung di na siya maka-answer sa problem sa users, then yeah, it will be pointless. And I'm gonna show you examples of that later. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna show you the evolution of products just to introduce you into what the UX design is. So if you remember 1950s, 1950s, 80s, 2000. So all of these products help us communicate, no? Makikita ka nga ni-evolve gid siya from just the beeper for text lang and then this very big bulky phone. So you can see throughout the year nag-evolve ang products. No, if you look at the web, this is one of the first websites, 1991. And this is just really kung ano siya, mo click ra jud ka, like it's just linking one page to another page, and that's it. That was very revolutionary at that point. But this is how the web looks like before. Then slowly 1995, there's styling, there's CSS, HTML, and then slowly nagka-evolve na siya. You can see nga murag nakanindot siya, no? Nakanindot siya tanaw. Then now you have this para responsive design. You can see almost the same design in your phone, in your tablet, in your desktop computers. So as technology gets more advanced, system gets more complex, more complicated. Trends and demands change, content consumption change, user wants and needs change. So mag-usab na siya, but in the end, the measure of success remains the same. It's how the users perceive the product. And that encompasses software products, physical products. It's the same. It's how the user perceive the product and how you are solving the problem of the user. So UX is actually a science and art of designing products. So it's easy to use, fits on their expectations, and meets business goal. So I call out easy to use first because at the end of the day, it should be easy to use. It should solve the problem of the users and fits the expectation. Okay, if you, let's say for example, if you want to send money, you don't go to Instagram, you don't go to Facebook, right? You always go to Gcash, you go to BPI app. So you already expect that if you use this application, you can send money. So mo na siya ang fits the expectation. So if your product is solving a specific problem, users should be able to, just by looking at the application on first view, when they open the app, they should be able to understand what it does, what it can do, what it can solve. Pretty much like Gcash, di ba? If you remember the first time you're using Gcash, di ba? When you log in, after you've gone through the tedium of signing up, loading your Gcash, immediately you can see na, oh, na dito imong amount nga gibutang, na dito ang load. So you already know na you can put money in there. So it fits in your expectation. So mo na siya, like your product should be designed enough for the user to expect what they can do and what they can work, what actions they can do sa imong application or sa imong product if it's a packaging, a physical product. So they should immediately understand. Much like a soap, di ba? Kung ka sa soap, without calling it a soap, moto ka sa grocery store, you'll know, naki-sense nga murag, oh, sabon man ni siya, di man ni siya pagkaon. So immediately, just because of the packaging, um, it it helps, communicate that language. So mo na siya. And of course, in the end of the day, every product needs to sell, needs to make money. So it should meet the business goal because yeah, that's the goal of every product. So a user interface, as you call out, there's UI and UX. So I'm gonna separate the two because it's worth mentioning the separation of UI and UX. So user interface is a surface, no? It's a visual point of interaction. Mao na siya ang murag, the very surface of what you're communicating into. So it informs the structure, the typography, the graphics, illustrations, and all. Excuse me. So if you look at Meta glasses, I know more far-fetched na kay siya, no? This is physical product, pero ang UI sa Meta glasses is actually your communication. It's voice UI. It's your voice interaction. It's how you interact with a machine. Um, and with the AI right now, the UI is actually your command. I'm gonna touch base on that later on designing AI. And I think some of you guys are also doing AI stuff. So I'm gonna walk you through a bit on the AI stuff. So yeah, so a user interface UI is really just that the surface level, the point of contact of the humans and the machine. It's how you make command. So kung tanaw ka sa printer, it's that button nga imong i-press kung imong mag-photocopy, mag-print. So that's the interface. That's the means of communicating to the machine. It's how you provide command to the machine. So that's the UI. That's the user interface. So UI UX design is the discipline that examines interaction. So it's beyond. So if you can look at this image on the right, kiring sa babaw is the UI. Underneath are actually like huge, more siya og karang iceberg ba nga. You can only see the tip. But what's underneath is really I'm gonna show you later. Pero grabe siya nga thought process, grabe siya nga effort just to come up with that UI sa babaw. So yeah, it's actually understanding the real users, ang goals nila, experiences, needs, and wants. Maunang easy kay gamito ng Facebook. It's because of that they actually have about 500 designers na nasa Facebook. I know my colleague at Lexmark sa una, she's with Facebook now. She's with Meta. She works there as a content writer, and really daghan kay silang designer, daghan kay silang writer just for Facebook. Para lang, easy to use ang Facebook, dali kay siya dali kayong pag-like, easy kay pag-comment, dali kayong pag-share, dali kay pag-story. So it involves a lot of people, a lot of thought process, a lot of effort really just to get through that, because they understood the user's need, they understood the experiences and the goals of the user, and be able to design products around that. So muna siya ang UI UX design. So next is research. Research is the cornerstone of design. So without research, it's hard for you to do design. It's all assumption, because research, the goal of research is really to gather data for you to understand how will you design the product, no? So muna siya, ang user research involves a lot of interviews, a lot of analytics, a lot of surveys. So as you can see on the right, these are the sort of output or deliverables on conducting research. So you can see, I think, let me just minimize this. So this one is a user persona. I'm not sure if you do user persona creation. Do you do user persona creation, Mary, or you don't
Not yet,
do
sir.
user persona creation? You do user persona creation. Okay, so yeah, there you go. So this is one sample of that research. This is user journey, and this is I don't know, user flow creation, I think. So yeah, research involves a lot of that, like understanding users, understanding their needs, understanding their problems. Because yeah, without that data, it's hard for you to just predict things. Okay, mura ra jud mo. It's like maghap-hap sa sud sa room nga ngit-ngit, ya mangita mo og iring nga itom. It's like that if you're not doing research. So research is actually helps you give light on uh your direction, where you go, and what's your goal, what's your path forward. So mono siya, it's a requirement on every design na nagi research, no. So it's informed well on the science and we call this one, the science and math behind the design. So mono siya ang research. And next is information architecture. I'm gonna touch base a little bit on this. I actually added this later, pero information architecture is organizing, structuring information in a way nga easy siya masabtan. So imagine let's say for example, as man ako example ha, Shopee, Lazada. If you look at those, every product was every product nila was designed in a way nga nakakategorize siya. So let's say for example, moadto ka og TV. You would expect kana dito ang let's say mga TV, not just TV though, nasa yung mga remote probably or TV stand or so all of that was designed in such a way nga murag masabtan nimo kung asa ka mo adto, kung asa ka mo navigate to because information architecture is a practice of organizing, structuring information sa imong product kay para easy siya ma-navigate, easy to understand, it's easy for you to find products. So, mo na siya, information architecture. It's actually a subset of UX design. It's more focused on information organizing and structuring. In our company, we do have information architects. They are the ones who really focus on this one. Mura sila, they are the geeks of this one. So yeah, that's information architecture. And I'm gonna walk you through on this. This is elements of user experience. This was created by Jesse James Garrett around 2000. Oh my God, I forgot. 2000, early 2000 man siguro. 2001, 2008, 2005. So this has been around for a long, long time already. And I'm still using it because it's easy for me to understand. It's easy also to communicate what UX and what UI is. I'm gonna start at the bottom and I'm gonna walk you through going up. So it starts with something abstract to something concrete at the top most. And you can see at the bottom, it starts with user needs and site objectives. They use Jesse James actually use site objectives kay gigamit ni siya sa una for websites, only websites because wala pa tong applications, wala pang web applications, wala pang mobile applications. It was just website. So just think of this as karang apply it in your own context. But in the bottom part, it starts with strategy. Unsa may needs sa users, unsa may objective ani nga website, unsa may goal ani. Then slowly we go up, one level up, magkaklaro-klaro gamay. Functional specification. So based on the user needs, unsa may content requirement, unsa may function specification ng product. But all of this informs answers the user needs and the site objective. That's scope. Then slowly one level up, that's the structure. It shows interaction design and information architecture. So this one, oops, sorry. So this one is showing the interface na gamay. It shows the skeleton. It shows the asa man padung ang user, asa may sud ani nga page, asa may sud ani nga content, asa may content ani diri, should there be a landing page na by search. Let's say for example, Shopify na search on Shopify, I no, not Shopify, Shopee. What content should be there, asa may naa dira. Let's say for example GCash, immediately makita nimo imong balance, di ba? Makita kadayon. So mo na siya ang interaction design. It doesn't even show visual yet. Kuan ra content lagi na. So unsa may information na dira, unsa may interaction nga pwede na dira. So that's where structure is. Then slowly one level up, there goes the skeleton, which shows the interface design, the navigation and information design. So this is where magkaklaro-klaro na gamay. So naana ang imagine ka og GCash, no? Na ay let's say transfer flow. So when the user clicks transfer, mugawas din dito kinsa man ako padadaan sa number, pila akong padala karang anana. So this is where ang skeleton na but already like once you nail down the good wireframe, the good skeleton part, navigation design, it's almost there once you layer that in. So mo na siya ang one of the last murag what do you call this one of the last hurdle. Once you finish, once you clear this one out, once you finalize the flow, once you finalize everything, visual design will be pretty much one quick flow na lang siya. But of course, visual design focus on karang graphics, typography, color. If you're familiar with karang design system, it's being able to create components nga replicable na siya ba, nga dali na lang siya balik-balikon na lang siya. Let's say for example, buttons, na small buttons, big, medium, large. So it's being able to build around that. So that's visual design. So if you look at the whole view of things, this one from skeleton going downwards to strategy is UX design. The one on top, designing the surface, is visual design. So if you look at that, the term UI UX design um, is actually fully karang kuan na siya no, mura siya og gi-combine nila into one, pero actually dako kayong kuan ang UX, while ang UI, I'm not discounting UI actually, but the lisod sa ba ang UI, it's hard to design it to make it look good, pero UI does the surface, while everything, the strategy, the scope, the structure, is defined by UX design. So yeah, mora na siya. Then next, I'm gonna touch base on this real quick, no? Pero this deserves one topic, no, one session on its own. The 10 usability heuristics by Don Norman. This is the summarized version, pero yeah, this actually warrants one whole session or 1 to 2 hour session. So yeah, I'm just gonna call out the this usability heuristics was actually designed to help designers, design better products. So I'm just gonna call out really quickly, okay, wala tayo time to dwell on this one. So visibility of system status. It's for users to know kung saan nitabo sa device. So let's say for example, nag-press nimo sa send. Di ba na siya ma-send dito ang GCash, di ba? There's this loading state, mga few seconds siya. So without that loading state, without that loading state, it's hard for you to know nga nag-load, nag-sending na dito. Pretty much like, forgot to sa nga app before, I think Union Bank or BPI, wherein when you send it, wala siya loading state, and you think na-send na, wala pa day, nag-load na day siya sa background. So yeah, it's important to have those system status, visibility of system status. So match between system and the real world. It's being able to design the interface, the interaction in a way nga murag the same way you interact with real world. So an example is the save button. The save button is shaped like a floppy disk, which was, the floppy disk as before. If you're familiar with floppy disk, that's where you save the content. So mura siya, ano ba, pattern siya. And if you look at the recycle bin, the trash bin sa Mac and Windows, it's designed as a trash can for you to understand nga dira ni may panglabay ang mga, mga unuseful stuff na. So mo na siya, no? It's about designing products nga match sa real world in a way nga murag wala na siya murag instant na gani ang response. So mo na siya, match between the real world and the match with the system and the real world. Then user control and freedom, just allow users to undo by command Z. So give them freedom to change, give them freedom to course correct or to correct their own mistakes. So there's a few more, pero do some research online. I think you can just find 10 usability heuristics, and you can get like a lot of contents, a lot of resources on this one. So yeah, this is like very basic tenant lang for you to design better products. Just applying all of this 10 heuristics will greatly improve your product, will greatly improve the usability, the performance, and the usefulness of your product already. So yeah, next is The Loss of UX by John Jablowski. So this is actually making use of our mental models, our psychology, and apply it into user experience design. So I'm gonna call out a few kay daghan jud ni siya. Excuse me. So one is this one, aesthetic usability effect. This is actually a bias na to nga immediately when we see a product that looks good, immediately we think that it's easy to use. So it's a common nga murag it's a common bias nga if you see things nga nindot or kuan na din kay bias nga easy ni siya dali ni siya gamiton kay mo na siya aesthetic usability effect. Our brain is wired to think something as easy to use just because it looks good. But of course, that's not normally the case. You have to like design better products, design the good experience. But of course, last na gina siya ang aesthetics, because what's the point of designing good-looking product? In the end, inigamit sa user, di siya hard to use di siya. Then I'm just gonna call out a few. Other one is Miller's Law. So Miller's Law states that an average person can memorize up to 7 bits of information plus or minus 2. So what this means is that they call it chunks, 7 chunks of information. So an average person can memorize 7 chunks of information. Mo ni siyang reason nga nung naatay, if you recall your telephone number, there are 7. There's 3 area code and there's 4 nga karang basic code. It's because of this law, Miller's law. We can only retain 7 bits or chunks of information at a time, plus or minus 2, depends on how much how much you retain in memory. So yeah, all of these, once you run through all of these, you can understand giun sa pag-design ng products, ang good looking product, ang well designed products. You can understand nga kuan jud siya karang informed by psychology and well thought out kay siya. Yeah, just do a quick run through. Just search online "Laws of UX" by John Jablowski, and you'll understand a lot about how products are designed. So yes, next, capabilities and skills of a designer. So I'm just gonna call this out because I know that kay karang notions about design nga murag tig kuan naman na sila tig draw og square, tig draw og kuan. That's a common notion ng that's just pixel pusher or kuan. But UX designer at its core has a lot of roles. No, this might be too convoluted. This might be like different roles into one. Pero every UX designer should know how to problem frame, conduct research, product design and service design, do accessibility, um, write copy. This is already handled by the copywriter, UX writers. Pero all on its own, kinitanan diri are all skills of a good UX design. So there's prototyping, information visualization, information architecture, design operation, how to like run a design team within a company. So design ops, uh, digital marketing is handled by marketing, storytelling, and front-end development is probably karang understanding of good front-end development lang siguro. Because in order for UX designer to communicate the language of implementation or development, we should understand front-end development. So yeah, all of these tasks or skills are necessary for UX design. And I'm not saying that you memorize all of these, that you be a koano. The goal is to apply skills in design and apply it into your product. So if I'm gonna say like accessibility. So the goal is to make the product what do you call this one? To make the product easy to use to most of your people, most of your users. One trivia, by the way, if you're familiar with karang closed caption, if you look at YouTube or you look at karang video platform, let's say Netflix or Disney or manana, if you notice closed caption CC, that was actually designed for the deaf. So they were designed for accessibility. And now we're using it bisag makadungog ta, makakuan ta, we're using CC, the closed caption. But it was initially designed for accessibility, and now when they rolled out, people love using the CC, the closed caption, and now it's everywhere. So yeah, if you're gonna design for a small subset of people, for those who are blind or who are it's gonna be useful all throughout. Everyone's gonna win. But of course, there will be like heavy investment on your part, heavy investment on this. So yeah, I think that's all for this slide. I'm gonna walk you through on the UX design process just to have a glimpse on how it looks like in paper, how you design products, and it will be not that comprehensive though. Pero yeah, just bear with me here. I'm gonna walk you through on how design process as we know it, and as how I've been doing it throughout the years. So this is the design thinking model. I'm gonna show you 3 different models, by the way. I think 3. Yeah. So it's really hard to pinpoint when to use one because it's case to case basis. Every organization has their own structure, has their own ways of working, and it's up to you how you decide. Design thinking is actually focused on a smaller scale what do you call this one, smaller companies, wherein you have you're tight on budget, where you have to like do things quickly. So yeah, design thinking model came from ADO. It's a organization on what do you call this one, providing solutions to companies. So this model, the design thinking model, is actually ang pinaka-core, murag, probably proud product nila is the mouse. They follow through this method, the design thinking model. It was designed by ADO, and they were hired by Steve Jobs before to design a mouse. And they use this structure para maka-design sa first mouse sa Apple, which was later on gikoan sa Windows, which is now everywhere. You can Everyone knows how to use a mouse already because of that, because of this model. So it starts with empathize. Empathize is understand the problem, understand the users, know like the whole scope, know the user mindset, their persona, their thought process. Then from there, define unsa may problem nila, unsa may how can we solve it. Then once you understand, you have a good grasp of the problem, ideate, like be able to create different solutions, find multiple different patterns, multiple different solutions. Then from that, you can come up with probably one or two that you can prototype, then test. So the goal really is to start with identifying the whole problem space, design a product, test it out quickly, and then learn from that, then go back again. So mo na siyang daghang kay siya swirling back and forth, arrows going back and forth. And I'm not gonna dig deep on this. So I'm just gonna call out this different, sorry, this different design process. Pero yeah, it will probably take a good 2 to 3 hours if I want to dig deep on this one. So yeah, this is design thinking. Next is the UX design progression. Actually, this is just a simplified model. So if you look at in terms of visual, mo na siya, no? So the first is user needs, pain points, business goal. So may how can we make money out of this? User interviews, user persona. So there's a lot of output. There's a lot of karang murag deliverables, a lot of conversation, a lot of back and forth. And then from there you design wireframes, which is really just the goal of wireframe is to quickly test an idea. That's one. Second is to allow other people to see your idea, because it's easier for you to also like scratch wireframes rather than going directly to UI. No, so because most of the startups, most of the what do you call this one? Even tech companies now, they jump directly into UI without going through the wireframe. But wireframes actually communicate better, ideation, a lot of testing, because you can scratch, you can write, you can communicate your ideas quickly, test it up, and then slowly build around on that. So Monisha, this is UX research, this is UX design, the structure on it all, uh, and then this is the UI design, wherein you layer in typography, colors, patterns, design patterns, pattern library, design systems. So yeah, all in all, this is like the simplified view of UX design process, research, UX, and UI design. If you want to see the bigger view, this is the double diamond approach. This is more detailed, I can say. So it starts with planning, then discovery, define, develop, deliver, and evolve. And it's actually almost the same as katong design thinking. It's only that the double diamond is focused on what do you call this one? Diverging, which is like expanding on the problem. So let's say, for example, problem with truck drivers, getting load, or getting task. So from that, you can gather questionnaires, user research, identify user groups. The goal is really to understand the problem, want to diverge. Then after that, we converge again. The goal of converging is interpreting sa may findings, sa man ilang problema, sa may ato ang i-try to solve because there will be a lot of problems. What's the main problem that we can solve sa tracking space? Sa, let's say, sa sa pato, pet owners. So may problem nila. So from there, you can narrow down on what are the most important to them and how can we make the most impact based on their problem. So from there, you can develop ideation stage, brainstorm, assess ideas, visualize, then converge again to prototype and design. And I think you'll learn more on this later in the stage. But yeah, this is just a walkthrough on the double diamond approach on the design. So yeah. So next is why. What is well? It should be why. Why is UX design important? And I'm gonna walk you through an example. No, this is a startup. Up is a startup, and I'm gonna play a quick video. Quick, okay, this is an ad they created for their startup. It's a wearable startup. It was when Fitbit was still the king of wearables before Galaxy, before iWatch, iPhone Watch, or what's that? No, Apple Watch rather. Before that, they were one of the promising startups. I'm gonna show you. All right. So this is just a quick run through. So Up is a wearable that tracks steps. They claim it can also track your heart rate. It can track your calorie count. So they promise a lot. They invest heavily on design. They invest heavily on making things look good. And oops, sorry. So this is was in 2014. How many years now? 12 years? Oh my God, 12 years. So 12 years ago, Joe Bone, now the startup Apple should fear most, new 250 million investment. So actually, they reached around $5 billion valuation at that time. They peaked around 2017. So they are like one of the sought after startup in wearable space, and people like wants to jump in. They even positioned themselves to kill the Apple Watch. At that time, Apple Watch was still mura pa siya og karang what do you call this one? Karang up and coming pa siya. It was still in development. Apple Watch was still in development, and Jobon was there. Like it was one of the big competitors of Apple at that time, and they designed better products. They hired a lot of industrial designers. They invest heavily on making things look good. They hired a lot of what do you call this one? UI designers. They hired a lot of really they invest heavily on design on this one. The problem is I'm gonna show you later, but as you can see, the UI is very well designed. It's really umutanaw ka this time around 20, they released this around 2015, 2016. If you compare it to that time, no, to that period, 10 years, 10 years, 11 years ago, this is really good. This is really good looking product. Think ka nga, oh, nindot na kani siya. This is really fancy looking app na. Pero actually, this is in 2018, 2017, I think. Jawbone, once valued at 3 billion, is going out of business. So masya no, they invest heavily, they don't take investment. They invest heavily on making things look good. What happened? No, mura siya karang just 2 years ago, the consumer electronics startup was valued at 3 billion. Here's what went wrong. So $3 billion at that time times 60, pila na siya, daghang kay zeros, di ba? It's hard for you to imagine how a very large company, and no, not really a very large, a very promising startup went down the drain all of a sudden. Wa na siya kalit. Pero this was in the article, no, for a very basic app, there's too many paths to ultimately doing the same thing. They invest heavily on making things look good, pero actually, it lacked, research. It lacked karang understanding the user problems. Now you can go around in circles on the thing, and that quickly lends to exhausting feeling of being lost. So wala siya na kuha ng information architecture, ang navigation wala na design maayo. So they invest heavily on making things look good without really accounting in, UX design, without accounting in the rigor of design process of understanding users, designing the flow, designing the wireframes. And there's more to that though. It's interesting to gaze at the graphs each day, but without suggestion, the application creates more question than answers. So really, what led to its death? Um, they over invested on making things look good without really like going back to the users, understanding the whole problem. And there are many complaints about the application actually, not just to the application but also to the product itself. So yeah, I mean, um, you can see what's the downside of really under investing on design. No? Makakita na ka nga, even though they invest heavily in making things look good, they failed heavily because they lack that, push to understand the user's problem more. So yeah, the business value of UX. In our day and age today, 2006, users has a lot of options to go into. Sorry. Mo nang users, people demand a high bar of user experience, of good UX. They want better products. They want to solve their problems easy. That's why Gcash was able to champion the whole finance space because they were able to reach out to the masses, and they were able to design a product that's really easy to use for most users. So Manasha, of course, there will be like caveat to that. There will always be problems with every application. Di ba ginamawa? Pero they were able to reach to a certain level ng murag. They were able to solve that problem. So Manasha, user expectations today are very high. So if you look at the UX hierarchy of needs, I haven't gone through that, pero UX hierarchy of needs is actually stating that user just want first the very base is functional and reliable product. That's it. Kung if it functions the way as it's expected time and time again, then they will trust the product. Then the second part is usable. Then the third part is be able to personalize it, be able for the product to understand my needs, be making it meaningful and significant for delight. And now, users, people, consumers, they demand this. They demand good, well-designed products that solve their problems. So, mo na siya ang business value. You're competing with all else. It's easy for users to, use products from US, from other countries. Mo nang dagan kay competition. That's why we really need to step up and, design better products. So this is the business value of UX. This are research done by different companies, by IBM and NASA. For every $1 invested in UX, could result in a return up to 250. So that's $250 valuation for every dollar invested in UX. So design-led companies had 32% more revenue compared with other companies. That's from McKinsey. Design thinking reduced design process, dev, and testing by 50%. And 50% if you're running a design engineering team, if you're running a team of let's say 10 people, that immediately ramps up, diba? So 50% less on that is already a huge savings for the company or for the startup. So yeah, it's no brainer na like all throughout across the board, across different companies, people who invest in design ended up earning more as compared to those who ignore design. So yeah, at its core, good design is good business. So mo na siyang very core of this is to understand the needs, be able to communicate design, be able to translate user needs, user problems into solutions, and solutions into applications that really solve problems. So mo na siya ang core sa akong slide. And lastly, I'm gonna talk very quickly UX for AI. It's actually designing for AI products because I think there are few startups that tackle AI, that uses AI. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna run through on this real quick because I think relevant na sad karon ng AI. So those who are not in any way, shape, or form not using AI is you're like losing to someone, to designer, engineers, or business people who are using AI. So try to use AI, Jude. I know there's a lot of murag karang against sa karang thought of using AI, pero it's just gonna 10x everything. So it's just gonna 10 times your effort. You just have to keep a sharp lookout on hallucinations, on what do you call this one, on their mistakes. Kay there will always be mistakes with AI. Kay di man sila di sila maka-understand our context. They are machines at the end of the day. So I'm just gonna run through this. So AI at its core has many subsets, no? So there's machine learning, which is pretty much just learning everything. Mo na siya ang karang, what do you call this one? They are the ones who are just really like learning what's happening. So if you look at, let's say, sama na, Tesla. So on Tesla self-driving car, by the way, they have this a lot of cameras, sensors all around sa camera sa ilang sakyanan. It's for them to learn and to understand what's happening in the surrounding and be able to respond, be able to stop kung may tao, be able to, let's say, karang overtake kung may car ahead. So they use a lot of machine learning. They constantly churn in lots of data, gigabytes of data, for them to be able to respond quickly and understand the thing in front is a person, the thing in front is a car, the thing in front is a deer or something. So it does a lot of machine learning for the car to be able to respond quickly on what's in front of them. So mano siya, machine learning, deep learning, generative AI, and agentic AI. I'm not gonna run deep on this. I'm just gonna I did call out AI just because it's important also for designers or for people, for founders to be able to design AI in a way that fits into the user problems. No? Because yeah, I think that's what we lack. What the industry or what the world needs is a better designed AI. With Grok AI. I don't want to dig deep on that, but um, so I'm gonna focus a little bit on agentic AI. I'm just gonna go back though. So agentic AI is actually a subset of AI. The focus niya kay mura siya og it's like having a worker within the system. So it's like having work with you. So they are like autonomous agents. It's like autonomous AI that acts in behalf of you. So imagine, let's say, for example, you're a business and you want to like understand unsa may review sa mga tao. Let's say you're a coffee shop owner. Yeah. So coffee shop owner, you want to understand unsa may kuan, let's say ako ang so may easy to understand. Bose Coffee. Excuse me. So your Bose Coffee, you want to understand what's the review of the people, what's the sentiment of the people on Bose Coffee. So in order for you to understand that, you have to crawl different data, diba? You have to go through social media. You want to go through karang, let's say, Google Maps to gather reviews. With agentic AI, you can have an agent that listens to respond to, let's say, Bose Coffee. So any mentions in social media, Instagram, Facebook, in Google Maps, review in Yelp or any review, they can have an AI listen to that and be able to respond immediately on how you want to respond. So let's say, for example, someone said, "Hey, I love your coffee. Thank you for making things good." Then you can have an AI answer immediately. Na, "Oh, thank you so much. We're doing our best to help make you life easier." Or on the contrary, if someone is like upset, kay, "Hey, there's a naitiki sa akong coffee," then immediately you can have an AI, agentic AI, respond to that. Nga, "Hey, we're very sorry. Here's a gift card for you if you want that." So, ano siya, agentic AI is like having someone, your personal um, work for you uh, autonomously, and you can also have that controlled in some sense. So mo na siya akong goal karon, it's like being able to design agentic AI. in a way that makes sense to everyone. Or yeah. So, mo na siya, AI agent is the building block. Agentic AI is the system. So AI is just the worker. Muna siya ang mo-crawl, let's say for example, mo-crawl across social media, and you're probably going to need also sentiment analysis. You need a way for your bot to understand. So man siya, karang happy ni siya nga customer, sad nga customer, or excited nga customer. So there's another AI to understand, and there's another AI to, let's say, give discounts or give, I don't know, give karang gift cards to the angry customer. So you can have all of those kinds of AI. So more na siya imuhang own murag soldier. And I can so agentic AI is a goal-driven AI system that use AI techniques to complete tasks. They receive instructions, create plan, and use tooling to complete tasks. So more sila real people. So being able to design around that, really like it's game changing. So this slides is actually focused to that startup na who uses AI. But of course, if you want to apply AI into your systems, be it hardware, be it software, ideation for your packaging, yeah, I mean it's very useful. So you can also have like many applications of AI. So man siya. So imagine mo siya akong analogy, no? Agentic AI, think of it as an ant colony. So ang ant colony na siya soldiers, may workers, may foragers. So each one of those will have its own role. They have their own task. And with that, you can design it in a way nga murag seamlessly work towards your advantage. So if you want something that will listen to sentiment, you can have sentiment analysis. You have one worker, one AI agent work on that. You have another AI agent whose focus is responding to users, responding to complaints, responding in Facebook. So you can have your own tone and voice around that. So yeah, so muna siya, the way I think about it, agentic AI is like an ant colony. And the designer, the business owner, or you as a person designing the whole structure is like the queen. So the queen is the one who's like commanding the whole colony on how they act, what's their role, what they're gonna do. So as a designer or as a team, your goal really is to take command of everything and have foot soldiers, agentic AI, act the way you wanted it or the way you design it into your system. So mo na siya, agentic AI is like an ant colony. So if you're familiar, copilots, AI assistant, generative AI, mo na siya before. This is where humans in the loop. Mo na siya ang this is where we were before. Mo na siya ang generative AI. Mo na siya ang ChatGPT wherein you say, hey, make me a resume or make me a cover letter for my application or um, give me business names for my startup. So mo na siya ang co-pilots or AI assistant. This is where we were. AI agents, mo na siya ang the next step already. They are the ones who are autonomously making actions in behalf of you. So an example is order refund. So mo chat ka, let's say for example sa sa man ako Netflix, mo chat ka nga, hey, can I ask for a refund? Then an AI will work on that refund immediately. Without any what do you call this one? Without any interaction of a human. So yeah, autonomous AI agent. Then the future is actually it will happen in the first half of 2026, which is now. So this is where AI agent fleets happen. So AI agent fleets is actually AI agents plus 100 times better. So you're actually managing a huge fleet of AI. We're not gonna dwell on this one. Let's just focus on AI agents first. But yeah, I'm just gonna call out that that's the future. AI agent fleets. But for now, designing AI involves what do you call this one? Orchestrating and defining roles of your agents. So these are like what do you call this one? Applications of AI. UX design must work alongside this technology and understand efficiency, combining AI and human aspect. Kay AI on its own will not work effectively without humans in the loop. because at the end of the day, AI will only be able to understand AI things. At the very core, they are very good at being the average. Okay, if you look at ChatGPT, if you try to look at it, their writing, their voice, their tone is really just the average of all the contents that they have. So of course, use AI ideation for gathering thoughts, for like gathering examples. But at the end of the day, we should take the what do you call this one, the huge effort to correct AI, to improve AI. So Monisha, so I'm just gonna call out a few of the applications. AI, predictive analytics, be able to predict what will happen next based on past data. Integrated experiences, landscape changes, sustainable design. Yeah, ethical consideration, of course. That's where AI and human, you know, should work together, because as much as um, there's huge power with AI, it will never know what's good or bad. It will only just know how to you know accomplish a goal or accomplish a task. So Monisha, so that's the new role of designers. That's the new role of you guys. Not just designers actually, but startup founders. It's being able to orchestrate AI, deciding what AI should do, where humans should stay in control, and how agents interact with each other. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, agents are like your workers. So they have their own roles, they have their own task, and they have their own ways of doing things. So yeah, you should be able to design how to orchestrate everything along the way, and how failures are handled, how responsibilities assigned. And yeah, this is really just an anatomy of agentic AI. Every AI will always start with a trigger. What are you trying to capture? So Morshag, let's say for example, company mentions on social media, oh, I love your coffee. So what will happen after the trigger? If bad review, then give gift card. This is just really a quick example, Ranish. If good example, if good review, provide thank you message. So every AI will have a trigger, a flow, a role, and a feedback. And a feedback is the goal of feedback is to help AI improve. Yeah, I mean, if you have an AI in your system for, let's say, um, uh, any ways of you're applying AI, you should be able to understand what's the trigger, define the flow, what will be the step that will be taken sa AI. Will it, like, get your gift card, or probably send escalate to a human kay murag kuha ni siya, big issue ni siya. So yeah, then what role are you gonna assign to that AI? And the feedback it will do. So the goal of feedback really is to help you understand how your AI did, and how you can improve on that interaction. So AI design principles. I'm not gonna list all of this, but this is just few of the guidelines on how you should design AI. I do have a more what do you call this one? Summarized view. The one before was actually from Vox. I forgot the name of the company. They are one of the big companies in AI, and they created this structure. But I pick out a few of the what do you call this one? Insights on how you can better design AI. So prioritize user intent. So in the end of the day, it's about the user. It's all about what they need, what their problems are, what their pain points. So prioritize user intent over AI output. Handle AI uncertainty. Kaya naagi na siya karang um, mistakes or hallucinations. So how do you handle that? Understand AI capabilities and limitations, because in the end of the day, they don't understand how you feel. They don't understand sadness. They don't understand that. Di sila maka-understand of, let's say, the taste of the juice, or they can't understand taste. So, and they can't also, I don't know. Basta you get the gist. You should understand that AI has its own limitations and capabilities, and design around that nga murag nay someone na maka step up, to there's another person that can step up in behalf of that, and contextual history to be able to carry on context on that AI. And yeah, flexible workflows, iterative exploration, trust and clarity. Be able to explain what AI use, what data they're using, how they are going to use it, and yeah, of course, be able to communicate that to the user na dili na siya black box, no? Dili na siya karang this weird karang thing that can probably possibly take over everything. So yeah, be able to communicate trust, because in the end of the day, users will always put effort, put, you know, um, put more of their trust on anything that they understand. If they will not understand it, it's hard for them to put trust into it. So, ano siya. So design is for humans. No, letting AI design or conduct research or do your thing will guarantee that you will build products for robots. So not actual customers. So design on your own, of course. Um, be able to design products on your own. Have someone design it, because I know you're probably familiar with Lovable, Figma Make, who can make designs out of thin air. ChatGPT, which can also create images already. Yeah, so just a call out that letting AI design will guarantee that you will build products for robots, not for your customers. So yeah, so just a quick recap. UX design focus on understanding user needs, aligning the business needs, and at the core, UX people helps team decide, explain trade-off, and reduce risk. So yeah, in the end of the day, if you build products that fits into the user needs, fits into the user's problems, it reduces the risk of failure. It reduces risk of mistake because you're already leading on a right foot forward. So, one siya the core of UX. And benefits of good UX is ensure the products are used, reduces probability of rework, drives down development time, sales and exposure, and of course, customer loyalty. Because every user, every customer will always go back to using your product if it's well designed, it fits their problem, and it's really what they need. So yeah, so a few books I recommend. Don't Make Me Think, Elements of UX, and UX for AI, by Greg Nadelman. So yeah, just do a quick run through on these books and few online sources, NNG and interaction design. It's really about UI design and UX design. No, pero yeah, I don't have anything for product design, for hardware design for now. But yeah, this is for interaction design. So last parting words: people ignore products that ignores people. So yeah, that's it for me. Thank you. Do you have any question? And yeah, you can add me up on LinkedIn if anyone wants to. Any question? Or I haven't seen the chat now.
Okay. Questions from the teams? Sir Rick, since Sir Rio na question, si Ma'am Arsenia, anyone?
None so far.
Sir, how about Sir Gora? Wala. None for Sir Rio. So, I believe, sir, klaro mo pod kaayo yung pag-discuss pod sa ilahan, sir. So, wala na gid sila questions and clarifications. But they can still contact you via LinkedIn, Sir Chris, no?
Yeah, sure. Na ako LinkedIn, and yeah, you can just reach me out sa LinkedIn.
Yes. So in that, for that, request ko po answer, stop share the screen kay mag-photo up sa tabi for
Sorry. Yeah, sure.
present sa certificate. So I request everyone to please turn on your cameras for the documentation of this session. So I'm waiting for. Okay, I'm waiting for Sir Jojo, Sir Van, Ivy, si Lance, si Romeo, si Kurt, and then si Nat. So, naana lang ni sila akong ginahulatan to open their camera. Naa pa ba si Sir Jojo? I think wala na siguro ni sila para di ta magdugay. Kay mo kadlaw na po nila Sir Chris. Dili kadlaw na ba nila sa inyo, sir? Dili pa. Hapit na.
8:30. 8:30 in the evening.
13. Timing na makatulog ka, sir. Okay, so pa-open sa inyong camera. Okay, a big smile everyone in 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, thank you so much everyone. So allow me to present Sir Chris's certificate. This is a certificate of appreciation brought to us. So it's a certificate of appreciation. It's presented to Mr. Chris Torregosa for imparting his valued insight and expertise as a research speaker during the Firestarter learning session 1 in UI UX basic testing matrix. So a round of applause everyone to Sir Chris. Under the CDO Bytes Firestarter incubation program held via Zoom on January 21st, 2026. So 3 consecutive years na actually si Sir Chris nga lecture sa ato with UI UX. So thank you sir for always supporting our CDO Bytes TBI. So it is given to the 21st day of January 2026 at USDT Cagayan de Oro, signed by our TBI manager, Dr. Franz Maverick Lorelia, the Vice Chancellor of Research, Engineer Alex Morial, and also the Chancellor of USDT CDO, Attorney Jodel O. Albina. So Sir Chris, thank you so much for being a part, always supporting CDO Bytes, sir, and always supporting our startup till for how many years na. So, and
I'm happy to speak with.
Yes, always, sir. And I think our startup is very excited man pod nga na-meet gid ka na nila virtually. So we're hoping na kaning sila na startup dili lang pud ditaman lang karon dinhi. We're hoping na they're gonna go beyond with the grant fund and all the activities na in hand for them for the next few months and few years. Sir Chris, thank you so much in behalf of Sir Franz Maverick Lorelia and the team. Thank you for accepting us and thank you for always be very supportive again. So
yes,
start
thank you for having me, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So if it's okay, sir, Chris, I'm gonna get a little lang kanang announcement na lang and then we're gonna end this one. So for the incubate startups, a quick reminder lang, we're gonna have our demo day this coming April 17, 2026, and we're gonna have a session regarding about Lean Canvas and BMC this coming Friday. Time is 10 a.m. to 12 noon. So it will be it will be held via Zoom. So same link, just different time and different speaker na ni siya. And we also want to request everyone to please scan or we're gonna send the link na lang for the feedback form of our Spark Track Cohort 9 na mga activities before the pre-incubation activity feedback form. So we would like to request everyone to please fill up this one para po malaman namin yung anong kulang namin, anong kulang ng system na ginamit natin for the pre-incubation program. So, and once again, this is Mary Tagalog Gajani, your facilitator and research associate of CDO Bytes. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye, everyone.
Hey, guys.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.